Hi, everybody. I'm David. You know, there are a lot of interesting stories in the Old Testament. My favorite are the stories about Joseph. You know, when you look at Joseph's life, it starts out with a promise. His life turns into a tragedy. It becomes a success story. It turns into a tragedy again. It becomes a success story. You know, that's a lot like our lives. Our lives, it's just full of ups and downs. Sometimes we're on top of the world, and then it seems like something just cuts our legs right out from underneath us. But before I talk about the story of Joseph and Potiphar's wife, I want to talk about two other characters from the Old Testament just for a moment. I want to mention David. You know, just as a shepherd boy, just barely out of childhood, he kills Goliath with a few stones and a sling. He becomes king of Israel. And Samson, the strongest man in the Bible, he killed thousands in order to protect God's people. David and Samson had something else in common, though, too. You see, David had Bathsheba. Samson had Delilah. Some people would say that David and Samson had wandering eyes. You know, it's interesting to note that where our eyes go, we tend to follow. Now, some of you might be thinking, David, this isn't a temptation that's in my life. I don't have that temptation. But let's consider for a moment, there are a lot of things in this world that can ensnare us. Maybe it's substance abuse that you have to deal with, a temptation. Maybe it's pornography. Maybe it's just you feel like you have to have the newest and best thing of whatever's out there, that you think that would give you some type of happiness. And we know that that's fleeting, but it results in you just destroying your financial situation. Maybe it's computer games. There are so many things in this world that can capture our eyes' attention and lead us down the wrong path. So with that, we're going to begin by reading from Genesis chapter 39, verse 7. And after a while, his master's wife took notice of Joseph and said, "Come to bed with me." But he refused. "With me in charge," he told her, "my master does not concern himself with anything in the house. Everything he owns he has entrusted to my care. No one is greater in this house than I am. My master has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?" And though she spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her or even be with her. One day, he went into the house to attend to his duties, and none of the household servants was inside. She caught him by his cloak and said, "Come to bed with me." But he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house. What a contrast between David and Samson and Joseph. You know, Samson had strength, but Joseph had strength of conviction. He was determined to pull away. He was determined to run away. And that made me think, I wonder where Joseph was running to. I wonder who Joseph was running to. You see, I wonder if when we're faced with temptation, I hope that you have somebody that you can run to, someone who will give you good advice, someone who can offer you protection. We don't know who Joseph ran to, but we, in our lives, need someone that we have confidence will help us through times of temptation. So not only was Joseph strong, Joseph showed wisdom. He said, "How could I do such an evil thing to God?" Joseph had weighed the cost. He didn't want the pleasures of today to ruin his tomorrow. Those two qualities, strength and wisdom, we need to have those. in order to defeat temptation when it comes our way. In closing, let's admit that at times we've all failed when it came to temptation. We weren't strong. We wavered. We didn't use wisdom. We've probably done foolish things. But today's a new day. We're going to be faced with temptations, maybe some that we've had the day before. But we have an opportunity to show strength, to be wise. You know, Joseph didn't know what laid ahead of him, that he would be in a position to not only save his family, but to save really the entire Israel nation. We don't know. We can't see ahead where we might be, what we could accomplish if we stay away from temptation. If we conquer temptation, we could be in a position where we need to be in order to protect our family. We have a lot at risk. So I want to encourage you to look. What has your eyes' attention? Is it things that are godly, or is it things that could result in devastation? I encourage you all to be wise and to be strong. Thank you.